Carolina here from KK Tank Tales, and today we are going to be looking at this tank here behind me. That used to be my river tank. It's a shallow, longer tank. This tank has been empty for quite some time, and I've been using it as a storage for my plants and running the filter on so that the beneficial bacteria as much as possible will be preserved. And today I'm going to tidy up this tank and we'll work on it to produce a shallow pond style tank. I have now emptied this tank, took all the plants out, took the water out with some dirt and mulch from the bottom of the tank. What I'm going to do now is collect the sand and the substrate from the back and the aqua soil into the bowls so I can reuse it in this setup and my other setup to start the biological filtration and to kickstart the cycle, and then I'm going to wash the tank, so let's do it. Okay, so I gave the tank a nice clean in the bath. I'm just gonna wipe it to make sure that there's nothing suspicious left in it. And I'm thinking of putting a background on it. Okay, it's not perfectly clean inside, as you can see. There are some areas that will need a scrape, perhaps. Okay, so the tank is clean. I will play around with the hardscape now and make a decision on the background. I'm not sure whether to go for a black background or frosted background. I will have a think when I see the hardscape and how the tank is going to look like. So this is my box of stuff. We have what, cholla wood. I have my root of some sort, dark more wood. Not sure whether you can see that. And this is the wood that I was planning on, Centurion wood by Wheel, and that I'm planning on using. And my idea was to kind of have it in that corner kind of setup to build space for terrestrial plants coming out of the tank. And then I have a selection of different roots in there that I might also use. Okay, so the idea that I had in my head was to kind of build in this corner. I'm not sure if I like it. It looked better in my head. And I played around with those two pieces of wood, and I've decided that I will only need one, and that this one. I will not be using. I've shown you before this root, dark moor wood. So I'm thinking of kind of building it into here. Oh, and I've decided to have the filter there. I just hope the tank that I will be putting next to it will fit in, but I think this will work a lot better. A few more roots. I'll just use some of those roots from the desk, from the box. Yeah. Maybe one more kind of from here. Just to kind of expand it a bit. I think that looks fine. I've changed my concept, so I was going to put soil in there, but I'm not going to do that anymore. And I have a few more house plants to go in as well. Obviously they won't be going in pots, but I'm just gonna try and figure out where I can put them. Hopefully they will work. Maybe that one here, slightly different from the lily, so it will look nice. And this one next to it, obviously no, I can't do it, but it will kind of go like around here. And then I have my pothos that was growing in this tank before I moved it, closed it. So obviously I'll be able to put it back, kind of, let's say something like this. And I also have those two little peperamias that I was thinking of adding kind of like that sort of leafage. I think that looks quite cool. And then I'll be able to go with aquatic plants underneath. And what this is doing as well is creating like really cool caves for the fish. I think this is what I'm going to go for. Right, I'm gonna boil the botanicals now and then we'll go from there. I also forgot that I have this heater. It's a Higger small flat heater. It's a 50 watts, so just the right size for this tank, but I wanted something that is quite compact instead of having like a long heater inside this tank, so it should work well. I'm thinking of adding it right here, right by the filter, and then it won't be visible because the plants will cover it up, but the water flow will spread the temperature even in the tank. Right, so we are in the kitchen again. This time we are just finishing boiling the botanicals. I boiled the other side earlier on and now I turned them around. I think this is the deeper pot I've got, so we're doing it in stages. I guess I'll still have to attach them to some sort of rock so they don't float up, so I'll let them cook for a few more minutes or however long the substrate will take me. So let's move back there. I need to take this off, thread that cable through behind the tanks, and then we are going to use the sand we've collected yesterday as a base layer, and then I'm going to top it up with a nicer sand. I hope I have enough because I might have very little, so we shall see. Also, this light will not be on this tank. I have like a gooseneck round grow light, aquarium light, I guess. So we'll put that on later. I am going to use this kind of, let me just put it here so you can see. This is the substrate I collected from tank when I was closing it. So it contains active substrate and aqua soil and some sand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix that, well, I'm going to use it as a building block for the substrate. I'm going to then use some aqua soil and then I'll cap it up with sand. Okay, so I've decided to use NutriBases by, I think it's Danile. Instead of aqua soil, I think it's just gonna cause less mess, and I already have aqua soil mixed up in here. So I put some of that in the cup so you can see. It's like sand mixed with lots of different particles and ingredients for promoting good plant growth. It's rich in iron, different clay kind of ingredients, I don't know whether that's the right word, that promotes plant growth. It's safe for fish, it's safe for shrimp, it promotes a good substrate pH, but doesn't actually raises your nitrites or ammonia, so I really like it. And also it looks like a sand, so if you are just topping up with light sand, you don't have to worry that it's going to come through like aqua soil. What I'm going to do now is build around this area, cover it with sand, but I am going to use the sand from the previous scape, because you won't be able to see this part anyway, but it will start up the tank nicely. Okay, I thought I have a lot more sand than I actually do, so I don't think we'll be able to finish this today. I was going to wash it, but I don't think I am going to. Yeah, we're definitely not finishing this today. Okay, but I will be able to set the hardscape. I'm mixing it to kind of do a little transition so it's not like a massive line. Probably won't be able to see that anyway, but it'll look better. I am back with steaming hot pieces of wood that I just broke a little bit. I'm going to try and recreate what we've done yesterday, so let's have a look. Oh, that feels right. Just fit it in like a puzzle. Oh yeah, I think I like that now. It covers the filter, it gives them the space to swim underneath, and then comes out as this like a root constellation section. Now we're gonna add this one here, kind of cover the area where the two pieces of wood meet, and also bring it out slightly into the tank so it's not all at the back. I think that really works. And I've got one more root that we might just add somewhere here. Just feel like it needs to be a bit longer. I think it's time now to get the glue out and stick it all together, and also perhaps at the back, just around there, stick a little bit of rock or something so it doesn't float up. Oh, I think it's going to be really cool to look at. Also, this is where my sofa is, so you'll be able to see it from here, and all that will be planted, and all that will be kind of plain beach / botanicals. Sand arrived, so we can top it up and start planting. Oh, we're gonna glue the wood first. Okay, I've got a rock and some super glue, and I am going to use a tissue paper to attach this rock at the back of the tank in here to the wood, so that section will stay down, and then I'm going to combine the woods together, so this piece with this piece, and hopefully if I attach another pebble down here, that will all stay down. I had to move it again, so what I did, the wood had a kind of an alcove in there, so I just pushed that stone inside. I don't think I will have to glue it, but I might just add a little bit in here just in case. But it should hold up really nice. Can you see it smoking? You shouldn't be breathing that. If that happens when you do it, it's a natural, not natural, but normal chemical reaction. Quite poisonous when you breathe it in, so please try to avoid it. But that is now set, and I will try to find an area where the spider wood, or it wasn't a spider wood, I don't remember what kind of wood it was, but where this dangly wood meets this chunkier wood. Very professional description for you, everybody. This, just to make sure it's saturated everywhere. Hopefully it is. It's smoking. It's a little. So I've got that kind of small pebble that I will now try to attach to this wood in here just underneath. Technically it should work. Okay, I glued the pebble out of camera, but it's very dark. Here it is. I hope you can see that. Now we're gonna put it where it needs to be, and I wanted it to be here. So what it means that I need to dig this pebble in and just cover it with sand. That will kind of allow me to this guy's the pebble, and the branch should stay in place. At least that's the plan. I might even join these two branches together and cover that whole area with sand. Okay, so in theory, we should have all this secure and it should not really float up. But whether that's going to be the case in reality, we will know when we put water in. Okay, now let's do the sand. I'll show you in a minute what kind of sand I bought. But there's 3 different sands in there now. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of a mixing thing, which is fine. We want the most up here because that's where I have the active substrate, and we don't want that to be out on top of the sand and leach into the water. Even though it doesn't have nitrates or ammonia, it doesn't leach that, so it shouldn't be a problem. I'm gonna just kind of move it forward, mix it so it kind of goes into this light beach sand. I'm just gonna mix it a little bit more so you can't really tell where one sand starts and the other kind of finishes. We'll mix it together, that would be really nice. Okay. So what I need to do now is clean my terrestrial plants, house plants, from the soil. So we only have the roots, which we will be able to submerge in the water. I only have a couple to do, so I'll be back. As I'll be doing it in my kitchen anyway, I thought I might as well show you how I do it. So I start from removing the plant gently from its pot and taking away the soil manually as much as possible. Right, we've washed the plants. So this is the root of this fern, and this is the root of this other fern. As you can see, they are very, very different. This one's very fine hair, this one's more thick kind of roots. They should both grow really well hydrophonically. We also have the peperamia plant, very fine roots, and I know for sure that this will be growing well in water, as I have grown them in water, not in the aquarium, but just in my kind of pots and vases. I'm just taking some broken leaves off. Right, I will probably attach them with a thread, and then these guys will go behind the big piece of wood. So shall we do that and then fill the tank, or start planting with whatever plants we have before we fill the tank? Okay, let's do it. So I've added peperamia there. I will have to attach them with the thread, and these two will go in here, just literally stuck behind the wood. I've prepped the plants and we can start planting. I'm thinking I need to cover this first, so I am going to use this Anubias plant together. Okay, that way, maybe that way, glue it, but maybe I will glue it just in case. It would be better to have a gel super glue, but I don't have one, so I'm just gonna use this and hope for the best. Yeah, I've got Java fern. I think I might just put it in that gap here. Oh, that will look nice. Perfect. And I have prepared this corydoras, and it should go quite big when it's fully grown, so I'll try to plant it at the back, and it's gonna have quite a lot of nutrients in there as well. It's an corydoras ocelot green, and they grow 50 centimeters apparently, so definitely at the back, because this aquarium is about 20 centimeters deep. If you look at it from the tank level, the cave's just there. It's quite large. It would be nice to have some cave dwelling fish in here. I'll think about it. So I am going to fill this tank with water, and I have a peace lily and some pothos to run through here as well, and then I might plant some stem plants or grasses, carpeting plants. We shall see how it looks and how full it is when we do that. I quickly added the pothos and the peace lily from the other tank. I think it works really, really well in here. I'm quite excited about how this tank is going to work. And now I'm going to try and fill it up. So I think I'm going to do it from this corner, because if I mess it up, there's just sand in there. This will be a brown water botanical tank, so I have made a catappa leaf tea from I think it's from Better Botanicals, I'm not entirely sure. Secam tea bags. So I will add that in. Already looks nicer. Nothing is floating, so that's a good sign. But I do need to check whether all the terrestrial plants' roots are covered in water. Peperomia is okay. Perfect. This fern, perfect. And the last one I can see straight away. Hopefully this will be enough. It's very late and I'm quite tired now, but I think this looks absolutely amazing, I really wanted to do a brown water botanical tank in a shallow aquarium for a long time. This tank is for my sparkling Gouramis. We have a mature filter from this setup that was on for about 6 months. We have the substrate from this tank's previous setup, full of bacteria, so I'm sure the tank will be really ready to go straight away. But we'll leave everything to settle. I want to see how the plants are doing before I move the fish, unless I'll have to move them quicker, then that's fine. I want to have corydoras at the bottom, either pandas or salt and peppers. I haven't decided yet what I am going to put in here. This tank has been set up for a couple of weeks now, so I'm going to do a nice water change, and I'll show you the biofilm that is still here, but it's almost gone, so we're going to clear that as well. The biofilm from the top of the tank has disappeared completely, and I have bought some little fish to add to this tank before I will move the sparkling Gouramis and the salt and pepper cories here. Let's do a little bit of a cleanup. As you can see here, we have had quite a bit of the biofilm fungal growth, and as I said, the biofilm on the top of the water has pretty much gone. But what I'm going to do whilst changing water on this tank, I am just going to vacuum the biofilm as well. I'm not really that bothered by it, but as I'm changing the water anyway, I might as well do that. I'll put some amano shrimp in as well, so they will sort it out. My crypts have all melted, so I'm gonna wipe that off as well. I just seen a detritus worm swimming in there. That means that the system is already stabilizing itself, and having that substrate from the other tank, from this tank, really helped. I just don't want to do a thorough clean. I just want to kind of hoover up whatever melted plants there are, other little bits and bobs that have accumulated over the last 2 weeks. I am now going to add some more water with tannins already in. Not too much, because we're going to add the tannins slowly so that the fish can adjust. There is about 10 of dwarf rasboras, that's what I wanted, and a couple of salt and pepper corydoras, which I'm going to add to this tank, but they will be joining, the other group that I have in my other tank will be joining this tank in a few weeks time, when these guys, is it going to, okay, we're gonna leave them here to settle in for about half an hour, and then I'm going to slowly acclimatize them, probably drip, because there is already some tannins in this water, and they obviously come from a clear system, so we don't want to shock them. Okay, so we now had the bag floating for about an hour or so, probably longer than I thought, but I just got a bit busy. So now I'm gonna get them transferred into this, and we're going to drip acclimatize them here. No one is left in the bag. Now we need to take some water out and drip acclimatize the guys. So I have all my fish in this jug here, And I'm going to set this strip to go from the tank that I want to put them in into this jug here. Okay, and I am going to make it really slow. Ideally the jug would be a lot lower than the tank, however my daughter is not asleep, so I don't want her to get her hands on the fish. Okay, it's dripping nicely, and I will leave it for some time for an hour or so they can get used to the water, and then I'm going to get them in the tank with all of you guys. Okay, so the fish have been here in the water now, acclimatizing for about an hour. I think they're more than ready to go in. They're swimming around. Some are bigger than others. Hopefully they'll all do well. So what I'm going to do, because it's really late, as you can see in my other tanks, the light's off, I'm going to catch them out with the net, and I'm going to transfer them into the tank, and we're going to have a look at them tomorrow. So it's been about 2 weeks since I added the fish, the first lot of fish in, the micro rasboras, the dwarf rasboras, and a couple of salt and pepper corydoras. I'm just looking at this shrimp doing something strange. And today, as I closed one of my tanks that had salt and pepper cories in, we have 7 in there, so I'm going to add them in. They are acclimatizing. There's still maybe half an hour more to go for them, and then we'll add them to the tank, and you'll see more of a natural behavior for those fish. Right, it has been about an hour, and I have all the corydoras in the net. Now we're going to put them come on guys, and they're all in. It has been a while since we looked at this tank. It has grown in a little bit, especially with the floating plants, and what we are going to do today is do a little maintenance on it. Plant Liliopsis New Zealand at the back. Take the melted crypts, as I've had enough waiting for them to grow. Although I think one is growing back, the other one I don't think it is. And then we're going to move the sparkling gouramis into this tank. In general, on this tank we have a tiny little hang on the back filter from Amazon, and it's kind of still doing its job. We don't want a lot of flow on this tank because it is meant to be resembling a slow or still pond. So I'm going to add some water now, and we can do the planting. Okay, so what I did is I prepared the plants off camera, and now we will be able to put them in. I'm gonna put them in as clumps, and hopefully they will spread out. They do like a little bit more light, but I have them in some of my other tanks with kind of tinted water, so hopefully they will still do okay. First, I'm going to take out grit that didn't really do well. Also, my Anubias, the whole plant have melted in this tank, so I'm not entirely sure what happened and why that was. It never happened to me before. I might leave this one because this one seems to be picking up, or I'm just gonna plant those little ones in and pull the pull the one that it out. I'm not sure whether they will grow. We will see. Never had crits melting so bad. However, usually in my water, the brown cryptocorin do much better than the green one for some reason. I didn't do much research with regards to why that would be, but it seems that way in majority of my tank. Okay, I'm now going to plant the Liliopsis. It is, you probably can't see, it is, you'll be able to see in a minute, a grass-like plant. I don't want to plant it on top of that little crypt that I just planted in. Maybe I'll move that. I'll move that here. Hopefully they will grow. If not, we can always again pull them out. Some leftover root from that bigger plant that I want to take out as well. I don't need anything rotting in here. Okay, now I'm gonna start planting this. Should look nice, and when it grows in, all of the fish should have even more spaces to hide. I think I split the plant pot in about, I would say, 3 3/4 clumps of this plant, so it should grow in nicely. A little shoot. I put a lily in the corner, but I'm not entirely sure if it's doing anything. Maybe I'll leave it a little bit longer. The other one has grown really well in one of my other tanks, but this one I think I kept too long in storage without planting it and it went off something. I'm not entirely sure. And the last one. Okay, I was contemplating on putting more crypts in it, but I'll just see how these will grow, and if that lily came out here, that would be really nice. I've planted some stem plants in there, like I think rotala or something like that I thought that will grow nicely out of the water, but I don't think it seems to be like in this tank. So, and this is some type of Amazon sword that also I guess needs to grow in, but so far it should do nicely. I stirred the water a little bit, but the tank is looking okay. I'm gonna add botanicals after adding the gourami. Right, I think that should be it for now. We can catch the gourami, which should be quite an interesting job. Okay, the gouramis are in here. They have been for a couple of months. They have spawned and had babies in here, but the pygmy cories are breeding in this tank as well, and I wanted to make the group of the cories a little bit bigger and see if any will survive. They have spawned today, but I saw the gouramis picking on the eggs, so I think it would be good to take them out, move them into their tank. I think they'll be really happy there, and see what I can do with the pygmy cories. But now I'm gonna just catch the gouramis. We've got a little cup. I'm gonna take some water out. Gouramis have completely disappeared. There's one in here. Oh, that's good. Come on. Oh, that might be easier to catch than I expected. Okay, so it has been about 3 hours, 2 hours, I'm not entirely sure. I've got all the I forgot, it's late. I've got all the sparkling gouramis. They have been drip acclimatizing for the last hour or so, and I have them here, so we can now add them to the tank and have a look at how they settle. I am just going to release them straight from the jar, the jug even. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put some water out first. One in, 2, 3, and the last one, 4. Hopefully this was quite painless for them. Oh, bless them. They are a little bit scared, this one. Hopefully they will settle in quite quickly. I am now going to add some botanicals that I prepared yesterday, and the shallow pond tank will be finished then. I am using small catappa leaves and different pods to make more hiding spots and natural environment for the fish. I have this shell, but I think I'm gonna let it soak a bit longer and add it in that corner where they're all hiding. I've run out of the small catappa leaves. I'm also using some larger catappa leaves and breaking them into smaller pieces to just suit the environment regarding scale a little bit better. The botanicals are in. We have small catappa leaves and we have large catappa leaves broken down into smaller pieces. We have some seed pods, and the fish and shrimp are already enjoying it. I can see the sparkling gourami swimming around and they have settled in really well. The corydoras are also exploring. They are a little bit freaked out, I think, because I have done so much work on this tank today, but I'm sure they will love the biofilm and, you know, hiding. It's kind of their natural habitat. So if you stayed here this long, thank you so much for watching, and I have prepared some B-rolls for you now so you can see the aquarium a little bit better, and see you in the next one.